Welcome back to my channel Chemistry Made Simple for NEET. I am Dr. Lakshmi Subramaniam with a PhD in chemistry. Today we are going to continue with rest of the important topics of Unit 8, the D and F block elements of Class 12 NCERT Chemistry. I would again like to stress the point that I have prepared the content very simple and easy for all of you, including the students from the state boards who can find this content really easy and useful. Watch the whole video carefully. Please do like, share and subscribe to my channel. Now first we can see here in this diagram, like we are comparing the configuration of chromium with atomic number 24, Z is equal to 24, and for copper Z is equal to 29. Just look at the two types of configuration shown here. One is the expected electronic configuration, means naturally according to the atomic number, the first shown figure would have been the electronic configuration, but actually what is the electronic configuration? Actual configuration is what is shown on the right hand side. So you can see that for Z24, atomic number 24, 3D, one vacant space is there, and the rest are having one electron each, and whereas 4s orbital has got 2 electrons, but that was the expected configuration, but actual configuration would be each of the 3D orbital has got one electron each, and 4s instead of 2 it shows only 1 electron. And for copper with atomic number 29, the 3D orbitals have got for the first 4 places one pair of electron, that is 2 electrons, and the last orbital has got only 1 electron, but for 4s it is 2 electrons. But what is the actual electronic configuration? The 3D full orbital has got 2 electrons each with only 1 electron in 4s. Again here one important point is that half filled or fully filled D subshell has got extra stability, that will be more stable in configuration. Right now how do D block elements, what is their role as metals? So these D block elements are real metals. They are typically metals only. What are the physical properties of them? First one is they are good conductors of heat and electricity, as it is a physical property for all the metals. They are strong and hard and malleable and ductile, just like metals itself. Now then the physical properties again continues with lustrous. You know what is meant by lustrous? Shining nature, high boiling point, melting point. But here we have got one exception. Just remember all these important points, like exceptions and all that will come for the exam. Mercury, which one is liquid at room temperature, it has got a low melting point, and it's not a solid like the other metals. At room temperature and pressure it is a liquid. Now they are extremely useful, very useful in construction purposes, because they are strong and unreactive. They are not that much reactive. That is the main reason why they are useful for construction. And if you look at the case of iron, which also belongs to D block, it is mainly used for construction and making machinery nowadays. There is a wide range of use for iron. Then it is very abundantly occurring in nature and very easy to extract, and most of all it is very cheap. That is why it is widely used for all the construction and machinery work. Now also another important property of iron is that its negative factor is that it corrodes very easily. It undergoes rust very easily. If you keep it exposed to air for a long time, it reacts with the oxygen of the air and then forms the oxide, and as a result the metal get damaged easily and undergoes corrosion. So to avoid such cases and to make a better deal out of it, they are often combined with other elements known as alloys to form steel, because the alloys have got much more good properties than the parent metals, like they are more hard and more resistant to corrosion. And next titanium, that is another important element belonging to the D block. Titanium is very light, strong, it is resistant to corrosion, and it can withstand large change in temperature. So that is why, because aircrafts and all space shuttles, they are all made using titanium, because when you go up, because of the large temperature changes and all that, they can withstand it. So that is why mostly aircraft and all aircrafts and space shuttles are made of titanium, but it is expensive. That is the negative side of it. Now another character of d block elements are that they show similar atomic radii, because of that, that is the main factor which helps the formation of substitutional alloys due to the similar atomic radii. It is in one element the atom will replace the atom of another element. So the reaction undergoes easily, and their modification of solid structures, physical properties and all that. Then chromium means because stainless steel and all, it is inert and used to make alloy with called stainless steel. And manganese, and this is the important factor that hard and wearing resistance to alloys and all that. In duralumin, what is duralumin? Actually, it is an alloy of aluminum with manganese, magnesium and copper. So the alloy of manganese is duralumin, and alloy of chromium is stainless steel. So alloys are much more, have got greater advantage than the metals itself. So a combination of other metals, we make alloys for all these elements. Then next thing we have got to learn is about the atomic radii and ionic radii. So main two features which we can observe is that the d block elements have atomic radii smaller than s block elements, and the d block elements atomic radii, they do not show much variation across the series. Mostly they are similar only. And next topic is that at the beginning of the series, you can see one chart here, mainly showing the variation of or the trends in atomic radii of transition elements. You can see the three series: first series, 3D, second series, 4D, and third series, 5D. Ions of the same charge in a given series, they show progressive decrease in radius when the atomic number increases. Why this is happening? Because when a new electron enters d orbital, each time nuclear charges also increases. So you have to remember that the shielding effect of d electron is not that much effective. So the electrostatic force of attraction between the nuclear charge and the outermost electron will increase. Therefore the ionic radius will decrease. So you can observe the same trend in atomic radii of a given series. So the curves of the figure show an increase from the first 3D to the second 4D series of the elements, but the radii of the third 5D series are almost same as that of the corresponding members of the second series. So at the beginning of the series, the atomic number will increase, the effective nuclear charges also moves up, and the electron clouds are pulled closer to the nucleus. That is why the size of the atom will decrease. What happens in the middle of the series? More electrons will enter the inner 3D subshell, and the inner 3D electrons will shield the outer 4s electrons. So because of the presence of the inner 3D subshells, so the 4s electrons are shielded effectively, and the effective nuclear charge experienced by the 4s electrons will increase only very slowly. So it shows only a very slow decrease in the atomic radius in the middle region of the series. And at the end of the series, the screening and repulsive effects of the electrons will become very strong, and the atomic size also will increase due to the the subshells, 3D electrons in the 3D subshell, the repulsive effect is becoming stronger. So more the effective repulsive forces, the atomic screening force is also more, atomic size also will increase. So we come to the end of this session, and we have got another 3 more sessions to go before because this is a very vast chapter. So that is why I thought it better to split into different parts, and then you will find the learning easy, and also you learn everything well and revise the portions thoroughly, at every stage, and those of you are in 11th standard, you have to cover up the portions in 11th standard itself, because in 12th we have got so much to learn. So learning, don't keep on postponing the 11th standard portions to till the middle or end of the 12th standard portion, because learning both will be, it is too difficult. You have so much of topics from these 2 years, around 16 chapters for 12th and 14 chapters for class 11, altogether 30 chapters. So you have to revise little by little regularly, so that will make your learning easy. So next we will come up with another amazing session, and we are coming to an end of our session today. Hope you understood the concepts well, and you just go through for your reference only the NCERT textbooks and revise these notes alone. That will be very easy, and it will give you more confidence to face the exam. So we'll meet again soon with our next session. Thanks for watching.